Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So today we're going to look at my top book list on money, economics, and power. Many of you have asked me about books. I've done this before, but probably a few years ago, so it's good to refresh on it. Before I do that, though, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's just gone past 8 a.m. London. We've got the precious metals again under attack. The paper price, that is, of course. Yesterday, I had a word with Simon Tempo from Gold Investments. Their prices for silver are still really elevated, over 50% premium. Some dealers have a little less premium than Gold Investments, but I asked him, is this because minting silver coins is more expensive, or is there a shortage? And he said it's a bit of both. So there you go. There's an attack on the silver paper price and the gold paper price. I think the bankers are more and more desperate to stop people from getting out of the system. We just have to sit through these times. As I've said before, a bull market is called a bull market because it's hard to stay on top of the bull, right? So right now, we've got gold at 1878.50, down 21. I guess the bankers are using the quiet hours of the futures market to attack the paper price, of course. That's the way they usually do it. A lot of times you'll find that the lows on these raids are like overnight London time, just before the market opens, right? Right now, silver is at 23.40, down 94 cents or 3.88%. There is no reason really for gold and silver to be down this much if you look at the rest of the markets. Yes, the dollar has strengthened a bit versus the British pound especially, but versus the euro, it hasn't really gone up that much. So it is exaggerated, I have to say. But try and getting hold of the real physical thing without that much premium. The stock market this morning, the Dow futures up 84. The S&P futures down 1 point, NASDAQ 100 future down 22 points. Sterling is down 1/3%. So yeah, sterling continued to get hit. I really think the UK government has really killed the UK economy, especially with these new rules that are supposed to last 6 months. We're seeing already news that the Chancellor is going to extend the furlough scheme. They're going to call it something different. So more red ink, more debt, more money printing probably by the Bank of England. So there you go. That's the situation. The euro is down 1/8% at 116.92. The dollar is a little stronger versus the yen here. We're back up above 105. Oil, WTI crude is down 1% at 39.38. And to finish off, the 10-year yield, the Treasury 10-year yield is at 0.67. So the bond market is going anywhere. There's not even a reason to say, precious metals are going down, because real yields are going higher because they're not going anywhere. The last few days that I've spoken about, the 10-year yield, we've been at this 0.67, 0.66 level. So let's get to my top book list on money, economics, and power. They're not in any order of preference. They're just here in this order. And they're books that I think have helped me understand how the world works, even though, to be honest, I wonder if I do sometimes with all the mayhem that's going on. But I think it will help you understand a little better. I can't say that I understand everything, of course, but there we go. The first one that I have here on the list is by Franz Pick, The Triumph of Gold. So this is a really interesting book. Franz Pick was a currency analyst back during the Bretton Woods days. in the 50s and 60s. He started in the business before World War II. He was in the thick of things during the early 30s when the gold standard was abandoned in the UK. He was present there, seeing all the mayhem going on Wall Street and the international monetary system. Very interesting, how can I say, perspectives by Franz Pick. And before I go on with the list, a few years ago, I had links for where to find these books on Amazon. I had a associate's program with Amazon, but I'm not happy with Amazon. So you're going to have to look for these books yourselves. Some of them are harder to find than others. Some of them you might not be able to find. Some of them might be really expensive. A lot of them you'll be able to find free PDFs. The second one is by James Ewart. It's called Money, and it's You Shall Have Honest Weights and Measures. Very interesting book. More of a educational book about money, about terminology, about what banknotes are, what real money is. I highly recommend it. I had it signed by James Ewart, so you could find this book. I'm not sure if it will be easy. A lot of great pictures in this book as well. The third one is End the Fed by Ron Paul. I don't have to say much more about that one. It's one of my favorites. Ron Paul never changes his tune, of course. Very straight shooter. The fourth one is by Eustace Mullins. It's called The Secrets of the Federal Reserve. Eustace Mullins really was the pioneer in trying to expose the Federal Reserve even before G. Edward Griffin. Highly recommend that. The fifth one is The Law by Frederick Bastiat. This is more of a, I would say, about power, politics, and also economics and everything all melded together. The main message of Bastiat, who was a French economist, even a politician at times, and a writer, is that government needs to protect the individual. It needs to protect private property, individual freedom, and that government tends to become too tyrannical and uses its power to actually do the opposite of what it should. And I think it's very relevant today to read The Law. So I highly recommend The Law. You can find free PDFs. It's a short book as well. The sixth one is one of my favorites, is War is a Racket by Smedley Butler. Many of you will probably know about this one. That's a very short one as well, but it's really interesting. It shows how Wall Street and the big corporations benefit so much from these crises called wars, or nowadays called pandemics, right? 7 and 8, these are both together. Not sure why I did that on the list. The first one is The Empire of the City by E.C. Knut. It talks about the power of the City of London, the big international banks, the Wall Street banks. You might think, what's Wall Street and City of London got to do with each other? Well, JP Morgan, for example, JP Morgan Bank was started out in the City of London. So it's the precursor to, I would say, the documentary Spider's Web, the Second British Empire. And the other one is Pawns in the Game by William Guy Carr. This is really about power as well and politics. But as I've said, all three, money, economics, and power, are kind of combined. And William Guy Carr is really interesting because he goes back hundreds of years ago and talks about the same powers that were behind the English Revolution in the 17th century are the same powers that are in charge today. The next one of my favorites, about the Bank for International Settlements, The Tower of Basel by Adam Libor. The next one G. Edward Griffin's The Creature from Jekyll Island. I guess that is a classic, but I would say it's like a continuation of Eustace Mullins' work, because Eustace Mullins, of course, exposed the Federal Reserve a lot before G. Edward Griffin, but I highly recommend The Creature from Jekyll Island as well. I have all these books, by the way, here, and I've read them all, of course, sometimes more than once. The next one, What Has Government Done to Our Money? By Murray Rothbard. And I think that's one of the most important ones to read if you really want to understand the monetary system. Highly recommend that. I think there are free PDFs for that one. You can search that. I think it's in the Mises.org website. This one actually is really interesting because it helps you look back at history and understand how things work. And this is about the fiat money inflation in France that happened right after the French Revolution by Andrew Dixon White. Free PDF there as well, and a relatively short book. The next one is a little different. It's about Venice, The Spirit of Venice by Paul Strathern. I think it's a really interesting book to see the importance of the Italian city-states during the Middle Ages and Renaissance. And Venice was quite an interesting place. This is another one that's a little different than the other ones that I've come up with. This is about the Templars, the rise and fall of God's holy warriors by Dan Jones. I think this is another interesting one. It's a lot about power, money, not so much economics, but politics as well. Jim Sinclair and Peter Carlin, A Pocketbook of Gold. That's one that's really good as well. It will help you understand what gold is all about, that it's not just a risky commodity, so to speak, as they say. The next to last one here, Gold Wars by Ferdinand Lips. Very interesting insider perspective on gold. Why do I say insider? Well, because he worked for the Rothschild Bank in the late 80s, I think early 90s, in Zurich, Switzerland. And this is like a Swiss perspective of gold and the war on gold, the war on sound money, right? Mr. Lips passed away a few years ago, but highly recommend this one as well. And last but not least is Jesse Livermore, World's Greatest Stock Trader by Richard Smitten. For those of you who are thinking about trading or are starting to trade or already trade and speculate, I think this is a must read. It's all about Jesse Livermore's not only trading exploits and failures, but also about his life. Very interesting character. So there you go. That's my top book list on money, economics, and power. Hopefully that will help you with your knowledge of how things work. It has helped me a bit, I would say. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Please share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.